That's your typical temporary water main bypass. It's going to be above ground. And again, it's going to be secured and it's going to provide you with reliable service as well. However, there are concerns during the wintry time. Mr. Kahuma has indicated that to me, and I believe the commissioner indicated that to me too, that what happens if it freezes. And that's why Wssc refrains from doing construction activity during the wintry month. We normally suspend that because we are cognizant of the fact that water expands enormously and it can freeze. So the only thing we'll be doing, if necessary, will be the relocation of other pipes that does not involve us taking your current service out of service. So typical water main construction, that's the backhoe digging the trench. And to my knowledge, the current existing water main is located almost at the dead center of the street. So again, there's no need to be on your property. Summary, Wssc will replace the water main and water house connection up to the property line. That is, from the property line, from the meter box to your property, into your homes, is your responsibility, and I believe most of you are aware of that. Wssc is committed to minimizing disruption in your neighborhood. Again, we'll be working in conjunction with your police department to make sure safety is something we take into great consideration as well. Wssc will provide a reliable water system for our affected customers. And that's the need for the temporary water service that will be provided. Last, Wssc will provide roadway restoration. Contact information, that's my name. I'm the project manager. My phone number is 301-206-8523. Ms. Savoy can be reached at 301-206-7316. Again, the emails are there. Also, Mike Dobbs, together with Kevin Woolbright.
When the water main is being replaced, there's that pipe that's running along the curb line. What that is your temporary water for your house right now. And what they do, they've run a hose off of that pipe into your meter. That allows her to get her water that way now while they replace the water main. And then when everything's checked and everything is good for the main that's in the ground, they will remove that and replace her back onto the new water pipe that's in the ground. So it's hooked up to the water spigot going into the house. She must have an inside meter. And what that is, since she does not have an outside meter, they run that hose to that spigot, so it allows her to have water in her house that way. I would think in a letter, if she had any questions for that, she wouldn't know, I understand, but if she had any questions, she could have called. But yes, usually that letter allows you to ask any questions that might be.
It has been policy that when we hook up to you, we take the meters and we put the meters into a bag and we hang them in the meter pit. We do have the meter readers that do come through and read those meters. I'm saying whatever you've used from your last bill that was on your meter, when it came through and they read your meter, right? They sent you a bill, okay? You've already paid that. Now you're in your next cycle, correct? Okay, the contractor comes through, he's put down the bypass, he's removed your meter. It's in a bag, hanging in the pit. Meter readers will come through, see that meter in the bag, and read it and put those numbers in the system up to the date that the meter was removed. They would either try to get into your home, if you have the indicator on the outside, the remote, and they can read your meter, they would do that. Is your meter moving? Have you noticed if your meter's moving? Well, if you hooked up to the bypass, you should be under the same situation, but we don't know because it's inside. So we just have to leave a card if they can't get in, and they'll ask you to read the meter on that card, place the numbers on that card, and mail it in, okay? So your meter should not be moving, okay? So please check that and see. We usually have signs, and so do the contractors. They would try to give you 48 hours notice. They usually put it on trees or something of that nature out on your street.
Construction just started on Edfelt coming up from Kipling. I would imagine that that's where you're talking about. If there's not any no parking signs, you're free to park there. If there are no parking signs in front of your home, then please don't park there, because we may be working on the right side of the street, but sometimes the streets are so narrow that we're actually going to have to put our trucks on the left side of the street to actually load up the material we're excavating from the trench. So for the safety of your vehicle and for pedestrians and or our workers, we can't have your vehicle parked there. It will always only be from 7 to 5, the working hours. At the end of the shift, you'll be able to park in front of your home when you're coming home from work or when you're getting up to go to work. Your vehicle should be able to be in front of your home. But you'll also be able to tell. I mean, the machinery kind of moves up the street. So as we're approaching your home, we kind of take the signs and we move them up the street as we're getting closer to you. You'll be able to see where the patch is and, okay, it looks like they'll be here within the next day or two working at home. We're in the median right now, so tomorrow they're probably going to be putting up no parking signs. And if your vehicle's parked out there, they'll knock on your door and ask you to move it if it in fact is in the way. But we're in the median. We just went underneath of a storm drain today, and now we're going to be working up the hill over the course of the next few days, next 2 to 3 days. So for the next 2 to 3 days, you'll be heavily impacted by the no parking signs. If they're not there now, they certainly will be by tomorrow. We're in communication with the chief, and we're aware that if the vehicles need to be towed or moved and the resident is non-responsive or not answering their door, if we can't get any action by communicating directly, we'll be getting in touch with the chief so that you guys can handle that internally. In other words, we're not going to be towing them up the street ourselves or relocating the vehicle. It's going to go through District Heights.
If we have to move the car, we may just move it around the corner close to your house.
I can't speak for the other contractor, but speaking for A&M Concrete on District Heights 2, I don't believe your street is ours. But if it's a one-way street, local access is always allowed to a resident. In other words, even if we're detouring traffic, we will always either have a flagger there or leave enough space to where you can come up and commute through that street to get to your residence and your driveway. Even if we've got an open trench, we'll put a plate out in front of your driveway so that you can drive over it. At most, you may be inconvenienced for a few moments while we move some things out of the way, but there will always be somebody that's designated to you through the work zone and into your residence. If you see a detour sign, to either park across the street or around the corner and walk, but we'd hate to inconvenience you that way. We will always make it so that you can get home with you. Again, your street is not on my project, but that's typically what we do on our projects.
If we have to replace in the same trench, that means we'll probably have to take you out of service for you to rely solely on the temporary service. And considering the ambient condition, the weather condition, freezing, we'll try to refrain from that. However, if it does include relocation meaning we do have a separate alignment, we'll be, laying new pipes, which is totally independent of the current existing pipe that is on the ground. We could still proceed with those kind of work. But if it's going to be the replacement of existing in the same trench that is going to disrupt your service, we refrain from doing that, ma'am. Usually from November 15 to March 2nd, I believe. Yeah.
We use mechanical brooms and sweep up the dust as best we can. The other option would be flushing the streets out, but typically flushing them just creates more of a muddy and mucky situation, which is going to get onto vehicles. So we do clean up as much as we can with mechanical brooms and sweepers. We have not implemented any flushing operations or anything of that nature. It's always an option. If we get enough complaints and if it inconveniences the residents enough, we could certainly entertain doing flushing of the streets, but we found that it just kind of makes it more mucky when you mix the dust with the water, and then you end up with a lot of sediment in the roadway.
I mean, that would be at your discretion to have filter, but it has nothing to do with the quality of service that you'll be getting with the temporary service, ma'am.
We're supposed to be done with Alpine and Atwood in that area at least before November 15th. Your house is right there where the two streets split, and they're working at that hydrant. I will go out there tomorrow morning also and make sure that you say you're having a hard time getting into your driveway. If you cannot get in your driveway or anything, I will talk to them, make sure that they move whatever's in the way so you can get into your driveway.
Near Rochelle and Atwood. We shouldn't be there till the spring, but when we go there, we'll make sure we get your number and we'll contact you before we start work. Yeah, I'm sure we won't be there till spring, But please leave us your number and we'll contact you.
Does that take care of the structured notification that you're requesting, or do you prefer something else, sir? One of the factors you want to consider is going to be how long has your house been in existence, saying what year was it built. That will give you an idea as to how long, the kind of pipe you have in existence, and that could give you a better perspective as to what the condition might be.
The water pipe that's being pulled out of Atwood right now was put in 1947. So it's been here for 65, 66 years. The pipe they're putting in now is called ductile iron. It's a water main. It's got a wrapping around it for a protector. The pipe that's being pulled out is cast iron. There's a good chance that most of that pipe out there is probably copper, but we wouldn't know for sure until we hook up to it and would see what the pipe is. I can talk to the other inspector out there maybe if somebody's interested and give them an idea, but I can't for sure tell you for sure that that would happen.
One of the criteria that we use is the break history and the years of the pipe in existence. So the plan is to replace all these old pipes within our distribution system. So if we've not gotten to the next one yet, it's in the pipeline.
I think you were speaking of your pipes from the house out to the meter, correct? Which is the gentleman said was your responsibility. And I think they stated that probably those pipes go back to 1947, unless there's probably been some plumbing work done, and you may have some records or somebody may know. So there is no way probably to tell about that portion of the pipes. These are capital projects. We've already put money out for these projects long in advance. This is what you pay for in advance. So you're not going to be charged for the pipes that's going in. Those are already a part of our capital improvement projects, which were probably budgeted probably 5-6 years ago. You have to budget out a long way in advance for these. So you're not going to be paying higher water bills for this.
The funding comes out from the Commission's water reconstruction program. Like he did indicate that the funding schedule had been provided 6 years in advance. If the type of water main replacement designated for your area is relocation as opposed to replacement meaning we're going to be replacing in the same trench, okay, I would suggest that could still be some work that can be done if it does involve relocation. However, if it's replacement in the same trench, we're not going to be doing any work. We refrain from doing that because we'll have to provide you temporary water service, which are going to be above ground, and considering the ambient condition of the winter periods, water could freeze. So we refrain from doing that. So work will resume earnest March 2nd, I believe. Our acquisition process for construction is based on the lowest bid. We do have contracting opportunity that is open for everybody. The Commission do have a very good minority business enterprise program. Thank you everyone for coming out. We do appreciate it, and we look forward to working with you regarding this project. And once again, I thank you all.